Hey folks, Fernando doing another video for the More Survivalists. Stay for this video. Even if you don't have a child, this is worth your time. Trust me on this. The baby formula crisis. The shortage highlights for larger problems with U.S. economy. It goes way beyond that. I was watching some of the videos from some other channels. There's one here from Michael Knowles and from Crowder about the baby formula problem. They don't get it, man. They don't get it. It goes way beyond this. The way you've been lied to your entire life. Your parents have been lied to their entire lives as well. So stay for this video. I promise you'll be learning things you weren't expected when you first click on this. Before I go on, yes, I have my books available in the links below. If you're interested in realistic survival and preparedness, you definitely want to get these. The Surviving the Economic Collapse, especially with everything going on, you probably want to get this one. Street Survival Skills and Bugging Out and Relocating. Realistic, practical survival, the way I like doing it and the way many of you like as well, giving the reviews. Thank you so much for those. One of the things you probably don't know is that I do quite a bit of consulting as well. I don't promote really this that much, but yeah, people that want to have my advice, they pay me for my time and I give them such advice to the best of my abilities, giving their specific reality context and moment in life, I guess. One of the things I did, I think this was last year, I consulted from a guy in Florida, and he was expecting a child soon, right? And when he told me that, I explained, well, you really want to make sure, can you work things out so as to have mom with a baby and make sure, well, yes, we could, but more convenient. And no, dude, listen to me. You paid me for my advice. Here's my advice. And that's one of the things that happens sometimes. If you paid me for my advice, please follow through with it. It's happened more than once that I later talk with the same person and he says, oh, this happened. And I go like, dude, didn't I tell you specifically not to do that? And you went and did it. Yeah, but well, if you invested your hard-earned money in in consulting or with my books, it's the same thing. You follow that advice. I guess that's why I do this stuff, right? So when he told me about a baby, he said, make sure the baby is breastfed. No, well, but no, I spent like half an hour explaining the difference. There's no difference. It's not like pros and cons. No. Either you feed your child correctly or you give him what is the equivalent of fast food crap. It is junk. The idea that this stuff is, it's kind of almost like, no, it is not. It hasn't got the same nutritional value. It is impossible. Do you know how complex it is? The breast milk compared to this junk, there's no comparison whatsoever how healthy one is over the other. Would you adopt a puppy and think, okay, yeah, I want to have a dog. Yeah, I'm also going to be feeding him the worst crap available to humanity. That's going to be my plan. You would never do that. Would you have a child and think of, yeah, I'll have a kid. I want to have a son. But I want to feed him only fast food and candy and junk and sugar, and that's gonna be all I feed. You wouldn't do that. That would be insane. This is the exact same thing, only social engineered so as to confuse you into thinking otherwise. Let me show you with an actual example, with proof of everything I'm just saying here. This is a video from the 1930s. That's the title. Obstetrics Baby Care Instructional Film, 1930s. This is from the United States, okay? This isn't some, third world country where they have these primitive practice. 1930s. And this is not like, breastfeeding is for hippies and woke people. No, this is the way in which humans have been staying alive since the big dawn of time. So, 1930s, and there's some silly stuff from the 30s trying to make it technical breastfeeding, which is stupid. But we've gone beyond that now. The idea that people are offended by a partially exposed breast, it's childish, and you covering up a baby so as to not offend an incel loser really makes no sense. Breasts are intended for feeding babies. Baby is put to breast for 5 minutes. The thing in the 30s trying to make it technical, like 5 minutes every 8 hours. There's no exact, babies are going to be feeding like every 3 hours, give or take, depending on the child, depending on how, on climate, on how warm it is, how much, milk he wants, depending on lots of many factors. You just let the baby feed as much as he wants. wants on each breast, right? So this idea of but my point is, 1930s, we understood, you guys understood in the United States that this is the normal, healthy thing to do for a child. Now, fast forward to the 1950s, this is what you're being told now.
Much of your baby's health depends on his getting enough of the right kind of food. Your doctor will prescribe what is right for your baby's needs. Since baby gets his food by sucking, it must be liquid food. That means a formula.
That means a formula, not breastfeeding.
The formula contains milk. This supplies protein for bodybuilding and growth.
Yeah, breastfeeding.
The formula also contains carbohydrate, such as dextromaltose, to supply more nourishment and to make baby's food better balanced. The formula also contains water. This dilutes the milk to make it easier for baby to digest.
You know what's easy for a baby to digest? Breastfeeding.
So you see, the formula is more than just milk. Preparing the formula correctly is important, but it's easy. They have a nurse. This is all very technical. Many young mothers how to prepare formula.
Instead of teaching women that they should keep on breastfeeding, this was introduced as a more advanced. People were stupid in the 30s. Let's be fair. There was less information available, right? And people were thinking, oh, this is much better. I'm giving my child all of those nutrition that my baby needs, and probably the breast is lacking those. People thought this stupidity back then. People still think that stupidity right now when you have stuff like this. This is, I don't even want to play these two women. One of these is a doctor, apparently, which just makes everything so much worse. But look at how they're stacking, breast milk. They stack breast milk, and then you have formula and protein, carbohydrate. So it's the exact same thing. They're trying to trick you. And she does say here and there, being fair, she says, well, the fat, they both have fat, but the fat in the breast milk is going to be protecting your child from heart disease later on in life. Really, lady, is that just a minor little detail that you think is now only worth but the visual image is they're both the exact same thing. No, they're not. It's not even close. The calostro, which is the initial, more yellowish milk from the breast at the first stage, that's specifically giving the baby protection antibodies. It's transferring directly from the mom to the baby. Breast milk constantly changes throughout the day. It changes if the kid is sick. If the kid is sick, the milk from the mom changes specifically so as to protect that child. I have 3 kids. All of them have been breastfed. The last one was almost 3 years old when it stopped. It's just insane, the difference. Do you know, this is the stuff I was explaining to this gentleman out of Florida, how much a baby works to feed himself when you give him breast instead of a bottle with a hole in it and a rubber hose. It is insane. A baby will sweat. You will see drops of sweat falling from his forehead as he keeps on sucking and breastfeeding. This is nature at its best. This is not about I just put a bottle and it's easier. It's not supposed to be easy. The baby is supposed to work. That's how his respiratory system is a lot better developed when breastfeeding than with a bottle. He's going to be having a much better form, stronger respiratory system, digestive system with something specifically made for that child. The breast milk adapts specifically for the kid. You cannot even compare that with a can of this milk powder crap. There's no comparison. The idea that you're going to be doing the exact same thing, it's ridiculous. They avoid ear infections. They avoid so much potential problems later on in life. And you may be thinking, Fernando, I was giving a formula in my life. I'm turning out just fine. Did you? Did you really turn out just fine? I can assure you it is not the same thing. The fat from one and the other, it's not the same thing. A fat baby is not always a healthy baby. My kids were quite chubby, quite chubby out of 100% breast milk. So you can have a pretty chubby baby. Now it's not going to be fat. When we had, other kids around or other babies around and you saw the fat baby, that was a breast, it was a formula fed kid. It has a lot more fat. It is specifically made so as to make that kid look fat and thinking that's healthy. Fat obesity is not healthy. It's not healthy on an adult. It's not healthy on a baby. a baby fed formula is going to be sleeping much better. He's going to be sleeping not better. He's going to be sleeping more, which is not the same as better. He's going to be sleeping the entire night through because you gave him this poison, this fat stuff, and it's in his stomach, and he just cannot move anymore. So he's going to be sleeping. Oh, I give my baby formula and he'll sleep the entire night. That's not normal. Usually, it depends on the baby and the time of, lots of factors. But a baby's going to be feeding every 3-4 hours, especially when he's very small. Trust me, you're going to be waking up in the middle of the night. And of course, if it's right next to the mom, mom probably keeps on sleeping and the baby just does his thing. The idea, another lie, the idea that, it was so uncomfortable, I couldn't do it. The idea that a baby cannot breastfeed or that a mom will not produce milk, this is insanity. This is like, are you an adult unable of eating or feeding yourself? Of course, there's people like that. If you're a coma, you may have a tube, but if you're a healthy adult, you're able to feed yourself. You go and prepare yourself a sandwich or whatever, and you feed yourself. A healthy baby will breastfeed and will feed himself as long as he has a breast, and the mom will produce milk for that baby. I've known one extremely flat-chested woman that she fed 7 kids. She breastfed those 7 kids, being the most flat-chested woman in the planet. Don't tell me you cannot do it. It's not a matter of, but it's uncomfortable. Of course it's uncomfortable. You have a little dude sucking on your nipple. Of course it's not going to be all that comfortable, especially not at first. Your body adapts eventually. It is about survival. If a baby is not able to breastfeed, she's going to be dying. This is try to deny this and pretending that a bottle with this junk is the same. You're not just denying your basic human nature. You're denying your nature as a damn mammal, which is what you are. So the amount of medical complications later on, the amount of development, the amount of psychological problems, this stupidity that this is very much you guys in the United States covering up a baby with a cloth. Let's not make this visible. Are you insane? Are you fucking crazy that you have a problem with a baby feeding? What? Partial breast exposure that offends you so? Are you such a delicate snowflake that, don't stare at a woman breastfeeding his child, right? And if you see someone, just smile and nod like, well, good mom right there. That's the only thing you should be able to do and nothing else. In fact, it's kind of, just go look something else, right? Now, if you think this is all just the idea that you cover up a baby with a cloth, and this is even for women that are trying to promote breastfeeding, you cover it with a big old stupid blanket. Why? You should be staring into your baby's eyes as a mother when you're breastfeeding the baby. The first thing a baby stares directly at is the eyes of the mom when he's feeding. It is beautiful. It is also essential for healthy development of that child, for his brain, for his social interaction. If you cover it up with a cloth, are you stupid? Do you think that's a good idea? On what planet haven't we been talking all year long about how not seeing the expression of adults' faces, kids in school, how this has had lots of, you're putting not just a mask, you're putting an entire blanket on a new little person trying to connect with the world. What's going to be happening? Oh, well, that's a good question. What could happen when you do something that stupid just so that the pharmaceutical company can sell you more crap? Association of breastfeeding status with risk of autism spectrum disorder. A systematic review does response analysis and meta-analysis. So kind of interesting links. So what is it that they found out? We found a 58% decrease in the risk of autism spectrum disorder with ever breastfeeding, and a 76% decrease in the risk with exclusive breastfeeding, according to our dose response meta-analysis. Breastfeeding for 6 months was associated with a 54% reduction in the risk. Do you see how vital it is for a child to connect with his world, to breastfeed, see his mom, touch her? The idea that, I'm going to be giving my baby this shit and we have skin-to-skin contact. Are you stupid? Do you think that even comes close to the connection that a baby has actually eating from the body of his mother and staring into her eyes and having that connection? It is something, impressive to watch. how a baby connects like that and how he starts development. You refuse all of this because you've been told by women like these, doctors, professionals, you've been told that it's kind of this, it is more convenient. No, it's not. And even just, pumping, it's all about selling you crap. It's all about selling you this stuff right here, the pumps, the balls, because if you just do this, if you just have a baby with a breast, there's nothing to be sold. There's no money in breastfeeding. And that's what it all comes down to. I think it's even more sinister and evil than that. The idea of, a man that has a mental disorder and thinks he's a woman, he's going to be feeding his child with a bottle. So it all just works. It is surprisingly always working basically so as to make the same people extremely rich, right? It's no surprise there. Weaker society, broken families, weaker people. There's no comparison. Don't let these images trick you into thinking otherwise. Guys, it's going to be all for now. Take care. See you in our next video.